What are you then? I'm French.
We need to get this thing ready. The Sherco's looking pretty. We're adding new stuff to it. What if it falls over? What do? We added some axle sliders to it. What about the rest of it? We need to protect it. What about the underside of it? We need to protect it. We need to add some safety to it. We don't have no turn signals, and people don't know what this means. They just, they think you're a Nazi. We're gonna put proper turn signals on this thing, but I don't want some big old dorky ones. I want ones that are slim. That's what we're doing in this video. We got a lot of cool parts to put on the bike. We could make individual videos about all this stuff, but I think you don't kill me. That's too many little videos. We got a skid plate and an exhaust slider picked up from Revzilla. Big shout to them. R&G exhaust slider meant for like an oval, whatever style exhaust. It kind of fits this one. We're gonna have to, we'll make it work. It's plastic, right? Come on. Speaking of plastic, also from Revzilla, this big old plastic skid plate. A plastic skid plate, what? Crazy, is that gonna work? It's pretty darn chunky, man. I don't see why it wouldn't. I had a plastic skid plate on my WR, and that was just a stupid factory one, which is about as thick as like a plastic. This is just how chunky this thing is. We also have, so cool, you guys know Supermoto, Crash King and those guys. This is so well packaged. Look at this thing, and I've opened it like 6 or 7 times, so it's less well packaged than it was. Dude, look at these hand guards they make. They are aluminum, cool metal hand guards, and they have a turn signal. Let me get a battery. Yeah. Ooh. These don't need a relay. If you just supply power to them, they just do their thing. We had something like that on the 300L, but not that cool. Oh, well, you know what? Why I have them off? We also have their rear turn signals here, just some regular turn signals. And yeah, I've opened them, and I don't know how to get things back in the box. I open things. Have I ever told you guys that? Boop, 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 boop. Small little guys. We can put them here on the rear of the bike. They won't look crazy. Also, they sent me. I take things out of the box. I don't know where the other box went. They sent 2 of them. It's a set of their mirrors. It's really cool because these just snap onto the handlebar wherever you have a spot, and then they're good to go. Is that everybody that we got stuff from up here? I think it's Supermoto and Revzilla for this video. I've made a mess now. I'm not even trying to put it back in the box. I don't know how to do it, and I can't help myself. I get things from people. They send me stuff, and I think, I probably ought to not open it so I can have a nice presentation for the video. But I'm like, I want to see it, and then it's out of the box. We'll be doing this one soon. Y'all know about those guys? Let's do the rear turn signals to start with. First thing we must do is remove our seat. Oh, it's so hard on this bike. That's a glove. I bet these were the turn signal. These will just plug in to see if I got this right. You're gonna have to start it real quick. There it goes. The green is left. I can remember that. I think I can. So now that we filled the garage with gas and we're gonna die. Now that we've figured out what we're gonna do, I think I could put them right here. There's a space of nothing right here behind there. How do I make them the same though on both sides? I eyeball it and decide it's good enough. All right, not bad, not bad. Got these on. They've got there's like a little rubber grommet thing. Make sure that's pushed up. I've got a little lock washer. You have to feed each end through the washer at a time or it's not gonna go through. These nuts are 13mm total KTM crap. Obviously, these don't have to get crazy tight. It's a plastic, sort of hollow bolts too that the wires go through. You can't crank on them. I've snapped a few of these. I need to feed these wires through a small hole right here. Then we can run them into one of these channels that goes down where the rest of the wires are. So we just need to pop this whole thing off real quick. Down now. This is kind of a cool piece though, isn't it? Because it's fairly heavy gridded. It gives you the handles. It gives you the handles. There's actually 2 passages of wires. It's kind of cool. You got the one running right here, which goes to the brake light, and it has kind of a hole right here. And you got an empty channel right here with a hole in the plastic. I think I'll just run it through this one. Around every dirt bike needs to have this kind of setup. This is way, way nicer than anything else I've ever seen. I've tucked in the wires, got them where they're all cleaned up. Since we're already back here, let's try to install this, our exhaust slider, so we don't destroy this. It's dumb expensive this can is. I don't even want to know. It's like a nice heavy duty plastic slider that you would put over your exhaust. Comes with a couple bits of silicone that we need to try to get behind here, which I feel like is going to be a pain in the butt. We go to tighten it and make sure everything stays where it needs to stay. But the first thing I've noticed here is that it's not 100% right. but I think we can make it. I think if we tighten this up, it'll be okay. And this didn't say it fits this type of acro, it just said it fit the style looking exhaust. Like it's close, and I feel like if I mash this son of a monkey down, it should work. All right, that worked. Cool. I've checked a few things. Like I've made sure if this was way over, the tire would definitely smack it on the Supermoto coming up. So I've got it pulled in pretty good. This should be a decent place for this. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to set up all the hardware that goes into the end of the handlebar. We need to bolt into our handlebar here. Well, how do you do that? Do you thread the handlebar? Some actually do that. But no, what we're going to do is we're actually going to stick an insert in here, this guy, with a little cone sort of washer piece in here. It's going to spread open as we tighten it. Sort of assemble this thing. Now, you have to do those. You have to get it under some bit of friction so that when you stick this in, if it's completely loose, you go to turn this, the whole thing's just going to turn. Now, one thing cool with these Supermoto full ones is this piece actually locks in here on the end. So that actually shouldn't be a problem, I guess, with these ones, will it? Yeah, because this has got some notchy bits that'll grab onto here. We should be fine, actually, then. But I'm going to go and stick this in, so I'm going to run it a little higher than I know I'm going to run it and give it just a tiny snug up. Let it sort of hang right there. They did send it with a type of clamps that I like, where it's got a big sort of notch section to try to get under things, and we've got brake cables and other cables in here we got to try to get under. Find a place where these line up with each other. This clamp is set up for the fattest part of the bar. This is tapered, right? So where you're going to land with it. What they give you is these little plastic inserts to kind of make up the space. And right now you just leave everything's loose, right? That's just, it's one of those operations. Because nothing lines up 100% when you do this. Pure will, and you force it in and you cry a little bit. Literally just a wood clamp. I was doing this on the other one, but this actually was helping pretty good to kind of help square them up. This is also something I'm gonna add on there. They have their own hardware, of course. These are ramp mount balls, and I love my balls on my bikes. Your phone, your GoPro, Insta, whatever you wanna run. We've got everything a couple threads in, so we know nothing's cross-threading. But here, before we get any tighter though, let's do this. Bad fish, sir. Did they look level? A little higher? Yeah. I'm just gonna stage things down, because you'll find too, as you tighten this up, it's gonna try to walk it a little bit. Bad fish just lives here now. I adopted him.
You just shifted that. It's crooked now.
I pulled it back. Feels good. There's no reason to go nuts on these. The only impacts are gonna force it more in. Hold the ball. Here, hold my balls for me.
He's making me hold his balls.
You gotta earn your keep here, boy. It's pretty good now. So we just need to wire it up now, which means I just need to kind of pull this off. I'm gonna run it along the other wiring. We'll zip tie this when we're all done, get it all fancy and clean. Black is black. Test it out here. All right, are they backwards? Yeah, this one's on. Yeah. Only switch these two and it'll be fine. Now put this one on. Now this one. Now this one. Hang on now, Jake from the future here to point out something I did not notice at the time, which is those turn signals are not operating correctly. You notice how the beam doesn't make it all the way down to the end? That is because factory turn signal relay with the LEDs was flashing really fast, didn't give it enough time to complete the pattern. This is a common issue with LEDs. There's a few ways to fix it. Sumo Full sent resistors that would normally will fix that. But the problem I ran into with resistors is when I fixed the front, the rears were not really working right at all. I tried a few other resistors I had sitting around. Resistors are like, can normally work, but there's a better solution. One I can see why they don't include, because you just don't know what kind of connector the bike has, blah, blah, blah. That is to switch to a fixed rate relay. And I'll put a link into this one below. They're like super cheap. I think this was like an $8 one. So I simply got one of those, went to pop it on the bike, pop the old one out. And it's also when I realized that the Sherco has a really odd connector. I don't know what that connector is, but I did something I normally don't do, which is I just said, the hell, I cut it off and I modified the stock wiring harness. I just did some little crimp on, guys. Same thing with the relay, plugged it in, and check it out. We now have correct turn signals on the bike, and it'll never be a problem again. I had to find a way to secure the relay, cleaned up the wiring, put the bike all back together. Back to the video. The biggest thing I always tell people with wiring is just like, you know, just bunch it up and make it so you can't see it. And they're all sort of tidy so they don't get into stuff. I always like to cut my zip ties where the where you can do this when you're done, right? Stunner, you know, you get it like that, you know, and you do one of those. Yeah, then when you make it where it sticks out just that much. It's time to put the skid plate on. That's the easier way. Plastic skid plates, like we were saying before. Can you trust them? I don't know. They're pretty thick though. They're pretty darn thick. And I think the point you gotta remember with a skid plate is Think of it almost like a giant washer. It's impacting all that into the frame, right? In a minute, it'll never matter that this is dirty again because I won't see it. So it's easy enough to bolt on. This is a breather for the motor, a crankcase breather, and it's a little long. I'm gonna use my nail clippers here and just shorten it up there a bit. It'll sit right there underneath the skid plate doing its thing. This back part of the skid plate actually hangs out over your linkage, giving you some linkage protection. Will ride against the skid plate a bit. It'll just flex a little bit to get out of the way. What's kind of cool is they give you a spare piece just to go over that, so that this becomes the wear piece, not the actual skid plate itself. Nice replaceable part. The kit it doesn't actually have instructions because you don't really need them. It's pretty straightforward, but you do have to stop for a minute and figure out which bolts go to what. We have a skid plate for a skid plate. Do you not know about Pimp My Ride?
Yeah, I know about Pimp My Ride.
You don't know about the memes? I heard you like this, so.
There's 2 skid plates here. There's the skid plate. For the skid plate.
They give you a couple of these guys. These are, what do you call these things?
Retaining clips.
Okay, here, take that one. So yeah, these are just what the skid plate's gonna bolt onto. The Sherco's got spots for them. Like, they know you're gonna put a skid plate on it. They just didn't give you one. Skid plate is also one of those good things. Get all the bolts in before you tighten any of them down. Yeah, you like how that pulled it in? Is this good though?
Yeah.
We're pissing fuel outside, so let's get this up.
All right. I'm leaving.
We've saved the last thing, the hardest thing for last actually. The mirrors. Yeah, so these go on. Yeah, Supermoto Fools guys sent these. And you know what I really like about these? Like, it's just a rubber strap. We can slip this over here. We don't even have to worry about going over the wires. It doesn't really matter. These just kind of pop on, and you can pop them off when you want to go do whatever stuff. Like, you can go to track, you want to do whatever. You want to look, you want to look cool in front of your friends, right? Go, I don't want to look lame. I got mirrors on my bike. So you just pop them off. And it's got a, see, they do look good. They got a thing. You want to pull yours off? You want to get the satisfaction of pulling that one off? It is always nice. This will just keep you legal. I suppose you can actually look at cars behind you, but who's gonna do that? The main thing I'm thinking is you're gonna be able to see if your camera's on or off. And there we go. We've added some protection. We've added some turn signals. We've added some safety. We got people we can see. They can see us turning. They can do all the things. You can, and the important thing here is all this nice cool we put on the bike is a little more protected than it was before. So anyways, we got a few more things going on this bike. It's been a lot. I know you guys are probably sick of the videos of working on the Sherco, but I'm trying to get it all ready so I can go to the track. It's good. It's ready to crash now.
And I'm gonna go crash it.
All right. Bye, everyone.